Remnants of the past, reminders of the struggles settlers faced as they tried to make their mark on early Utah. Many of the towns that came along would thrive for a time, only to end up in failure and abandonment. The structures that were left behind testify of and explain the history lived out by these brave people.
History is important in order to give a sense of balance to a person's life. We're always looking to the future, we're looking forward, and yet we have to have a basis, a root from where we came. And I also look at ghost towns as being a microcosm of history.
Any faint, shadowy semblance, those are the words used to describe a ghost. The same is true for ghost towns, the shadowy remains of a town's former life and activity. A lot of these towns have been left with many remains, old buildings and rubble that have a certain appeal.
One of the appeals of ghost towns is the is the sense of oldness about them, even though they may not necessarily be all that old. They're very picturesque. I think one thing that interests people about ghost towns is that they're so interesting to look at.
Each ghost town has a different story. Each one is unique, and the reasons a town fails to meet the test of time can be diverse. But all ghost towns have one thing in common. They give us an idea of how communities of the past lived, thrived, and failed in the struggle to survive. In the effort to settle the state of Utah, the area's mining industry began to take shape as well. Brigham Young and the Mormon pioneers attempted to settle as much Western territory as possible to insulate the Mormons from the rest of the nation. They wanted to be a separate people and distance themselves from the persecution they left behind in the East. They were separate as well in their philosophy of mining. Seeking out gold, silver, and other precious ores was frowned upon by the Mormons. Young's followers kept far from the get-rich-quick miners and their torrid shanty towns thrown up to capitalize on the latest prospect of gold or silver.
Brigham Young really discourages mining in Utah, and in that way Utah is unique from all of the other western states.
In Utah, the Mormon pioneers were interested in mining, but primarily mining of minerals that they needed for the development of their economy. Iron very early, and coal very early.
Prospectors moved in hurriedly and left just as quickly when mines dried up, leaving behind the shells of their short-lived communities. Frisco was such a community.